All those of that opinion say aye.
The carbon tax repeal is through the lower house for a third time.
I think the ayes have it.
The government's celebrations were muted compared to the jubilation last month when coalition frontbenchers thought they had seen the back of the tax for good. This time, the crucial upper house votes of the Palmer United Party appear locked in.
True to our promises to the Australian people at the last election, Palmer United senators will vote in the Senate to abolish the carbon tax.
The government was embarrassed last week when the Palmer bloc switched teams at the last minute and voted against the repeal bills. Clive Palmer says after a weekend of negotiations, he's satisfied savings will be passed on to consumers.
So all in all, it was better not to be flustered, although we were a bit flustered last week, to stick our guns to get the right amendment done so that people, members of our community, everybody that's here, will get a reduction in their gas and electricity prices.
The changes to the main repeal bill balance new compliance obligations with the need to ensure that households and business customers benefit. Already strong protections are being further strengthened.
This isn't a case of the tail wagging the dog. This is a case of the pup wagging the tail, wagging the dog.
The amendments mean gas and electricity providers will be penalised if they try to pocket the savings. Before the election, the coalition warned household favourites like a roast dinner would become an expensive rarity under the carbon tax.
It'll be the end of our sheep industry. I don't think your working mothers are going to be very happy when they're paying over $100 for a roast.
But prices haven't risen to the predicted heights.
Prime Minister, how much less will this leg of lamb cost by the end of this week?
There will be some silence before I give the call to the Prime Minister. Or the offending member will be sent out to enjoy a cutlet.
I am inviting members opposite to do the right thing by the lamb consumers and producers of Australia and vote to terminate the carbon tax.
Don't they look fabulous?
In opposition, Tony Abbott also warned the carbon price would trigger higher prices on supermarket shelves.
It's very good value.
But Coles and Woolworths both maintain they absorbed the tax and didn't put up prices, so they won't go back down.
Those lamb chops look really stunning.
When it's passed down to people like Coles and Qantas, if they don't want to pass those savings on to their customers, they're the ones who pay the price for that.
Treasury is clear and express on their $550. Secondly, the ACCC is empowered to ensure that all carbon tax additions are removed across all sectors of the economy.
It is actually going to be quite hard for the ACCC and government to pick apart what the supermarkets are doing with pricing and show whether or not there is any price movement that should have been passed through as a result of the abolition of the carbon tax.
Choice says there's no doubt the major supermarkets will have lower costs without the carbon tax.
But in terms of an average grocery basket, they're going to be fairly small amounts.
It may be too hard to unpick the complexity of the carbon tax across different industries.
Some big businesses were actually pretty smart in that they didn't go out there and announce how much their prices went up due to the carbon tax at the time, which now makes it much easier for them to be sneaky and bury some of the savings they'll be making.
Labor has leapt on the carbon questions.
This is a government that doesn't seem to be able to track a bleeding elephant through snow when it comes to getting basic things done in the Australian Parliament.
While it seems third time will be a charm for the government's plans to axe the tax, tens of billions in budget measures remain up in the air without enough support. And the government's future of financial advice regulations are also facing a hostile Senate. The government will be hoping for more fruitful crossbench negotiation. Anna Henderson, Lateline.